For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is up.
For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
It's Countryman again. Just I lick you with some wisdom, and I lick you with some knowledge. You gotta take inside your brain. It says, son, I've learned a lot out of reading people's faces. No matter how them are going, like them original, them fake. You gotta know when to walk and know when to run and know when to fall and know when to stand.
Countryman says that is up to any challenge from anyone, including talk show hosts, as he reacts to a legendary NewsSpin caller. Welcome to another edition of the most monitored talk show in the world, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. We're going until 2 o'clock with your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And of course, Kimani will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. I think I've just had an epiphany that we should also be going through the comments in the NewsSpin WhatsApp group. They are also having the discussions there, and I'm sure Kimani will not mind going through some of the discussions later in the broadcast. And so in the wee hours of today, stumble upon yet another offering by Countryman. And if you're not aware of this individual, you can't identify him because his voice has been distorted. The only thing we know that he has a Jamaican accent. We're not saying he's Jamaican. He has a Jamaican accent. And over the last few weeks, he's been making some revelations, shocking revelations, and those have gone unaddressed, and they pertain primarily to crime on the island, and in particular the number of homicides that have been currently under investigation, supposedly under investigation by the police, and they remain unsolved. So what I saw is the latest offering. Well, as always, curious, and I realized to my consternation, my amazement, that he was making reference to this broadcast and a contribution that was made by Rick Wayne. And Rick Wayne, just about a fortnight ago, did challenge me to listen to some of those videos and watch the videos, and also maybe we can take on a particular task of asking those who are at the center of those allegations to at least comment, to rectify, because as I said earlier on, they have certainly not been addressed by the individuals who have been featured in them. So let's listen to an extraction from NewsSpin that would have been highlighted on Countryman's latest production.
I noted that someone had suggested that I was off course, implying that there should have been some questions asked in relation to Mr. Countryman's various videos. Are you hearing me, Ken?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Good. And that person wrote on Facebook that why would anybody waste time investigating the contributions of somebody we don't even know who Mr. Countryman is.
And that clip again featured on Countryman's latest production, and of course extracted from our NewsSpin broadcast of a few days ago. And that certainly is a very important question that Rick has been asking. Why wouldn't, especially prominent citizens, in some cases law enforcement personnel against whom certain allegations have been made, why not address those allegations? Because that would, if you allow those things to go unaddressed, it will all it do is create fodder for detractors, your detractors as law enforcement, and also even people who believe in certain law enforcement personnel and institutions on the island might want to give credence to those serious allegations because of the deafening silence of those people who have been accused. So maybe the opportunity presents itself right now for people to clear their names, because those are very serious allegations. And if you're a fair-minded individual, you would just ask yourself whether they are true. But if you already have the capacity to make up your mind, when you hear certain things, you will only give credence to them. Countryman goes on to say in that latest production, I want people to know that I'm up to any challenge from anybody with the information that I'm putting out, because all my information is fact-checked. So I'm up for any challenge from any talk show host or government. Which begs the question, why haven't we heard a word pertaining to those serious allegations from, let's say, the National Security Minister? Because those are serious allegations. Those have implications for the island's reputation. And when, for example, somebody who has disguised his voice, yes, for obvious reasons, making allegations against specific individuals, some cases police officers, people in high positions in our society, because I think very often when allegations are made against individuals, especially prominent individuals, those people tell you that they have a reputation to protect. And if you do not know the identity of the individual who is making certain allegations against you that could tarnish your reputation and how you're seen in the society, then you have to clear the air. And you have to do so strongly. But so far, we have not heard a word of denial from any of those people who are being subjected to those serious allegations. And Countryman has also addressed the island's police commissioner. Let's listen.
Now, I would like to address the Honorable Miss Descott, the police chief. And ma'am, I would really like you to take a look into some of these cases by some of these police. And even if there is somebody in the system at an administrative level to take a look at some of these cases along with the commissioner, because a lot of people is in jail by planted witnesses. You understand? A lot of the cases them have no evidence and people are still in jail. A lot of the cases them, people are in jail over their constitutional time. So there is a lot of issues going on. But Miss Commissioner, I would like you to really look into some of these cases. You understand? Because a lot of these cases, now Madam Commissioner, while you listen to me, you know, are real people in a jail, are real people are suffer. These are real facts. So you need to look into this, Madam Commissioner. Because of nefarious, and I'm going to use that word, nefarious police activities and police doing an action. So, Miss Commissioner, can you please take a look at some of these cases? Do an investigation. Do the people them of St. Lucia some justice, ma'am. Thank you.
Now this can be a game changer, because the nature of the media, the fact that you have to verify things, the fact that you could be subjected to litigation, sometimes would hinder our work. And we have to be very, very careful. We have to act very responsibly. And because of that, there's a negative to it. Because the authorities will tell you, as a reporter or journalist, that this particular matter is under investigation. And we know that our current police commissioner is famous for promising us outcomes after an investigation, promising us that statements will be made. And we all know we are still waiting with regard to the outcome of such investigations, and also with regard to statements that should be made. So this whole Countryman thing for me is a game changer. I am not saying that I am in a position to give credence to the allegations that are being made, to serious allegations, because when allegations are made, you must come with the evidence, you must prove that whatever allegations that are being made, those are correct. But it is for those who are the subject of those various productions that are coming out and produced by Countryman, that they should see the necessity to address them. And he is very prolific in terms of his consistency, in terms of continuously putting out those various items via YouTube and the kind of reaction and discussion that those have elicited so far. But it is quite strange, and maybe you could use the word interesting, that we have not heard from those people who are at the center of those various pieces. Your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Also coming up, a local poet says, it is us. How much money will GPH earn from its leasing of the island's ports for 30 years in the first instance? And the name of things you probably did not know. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. We are awaiting your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Let's see there if we have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says, I'm repeatedly asked why am I addicted to NewsSpin, the only talk show that I listen to. My answer, I learn a lot from Tim and Rick. We have another WhatsApp message. Tim, I thought you got a lawyer's letter for promoting Countryman info. I'm convinced what Countryman is saying, particularly the container of drugs at a business place in the north, up to now swept under the carpet. No, I've not received any letter. I got some advice, and I have followed the advice of that lawyer friend of mine, that you have to be extremely careful, particularly if the individual is identifying certain people. So in this, the clips that we have extracted from this latest Countryman production, we have not identified anyone or made reference to any of the people against whom he's making those allegations. Kimani, what is in the chat room? Once again, your calls at 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Yes, good morning. Good afternoon to you once again.
Good afternoon, Tim. In the chat room, someone says, NewsSpin is the best. Tim even has Countryman as a consultant. And how much are you paying?
No, I don't have him as a consultant because he's the one who is monitoring my program. He's the one who extracted clips from my broadcast and reproduced it on his. So, no, not my consultant. Not at all.
Another comment, someone says, Tim, I think it is good looking into these allegations. Someone says, the corruption is happening right before us with judges and politicians, and we turn a blind eye to it.
We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello? Hello, good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon to you.
How are you doing?
I am okay. How about you? I'm okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon to Kimani also.
Hi, good afternoon.
Tim, I want to make a few observations on the ICC Cricket World Cup matches coming up in St. Lucia. Very concerned. Tim, did you have a look at the ticket prices?
No, I have not paid attention to that, no.
Wow. I was looking at it a few days ago, Tim. They have 4 categories. You have premium, standard plus, standard, and grounds, which is the grass, you know. Premium is 135 US, Tim, which is about 370 EC. Standard plus is 85 US, which is 230 EC. And standard 45 US at 125 EC, and grounds or the mount 22 US, which is about 60 EC. Tim,
and how much is premium?
Premium is 135 US, which is 370 EC. Standard plus 85, and standard 45. And grounds 22.
Yeah.
Tim, which stand can you go and afford as an ordinary citizen of St. Lucia? Yeah, Tim?
Here's what I'll tell you, caller. I am not speaking for the organizers or the International Cricket Council, but you could just you could just imagine the amount of money that we have to spend. So no, in terms of security, in terms of getting the grounds, the facilities ready, in terms of transportation and things of that nature. Many of us will not be able to afford the 135, the 85, the 45, the 22 US, etc. So in such instances, caller, we just can't go. There's some things that are beyond our reach, our capacity.
Yeah, exactly. And then the grounds will be empty. So somebody be losing, and then we spend so much of millions on renovation of Bosiju Cricket Ground for this ICC World Cup. And the prices are so hot for the ordinary citizen. And I cannot see previously we used to have, special prices for retirees or pensioners. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen no prices for children, like under the age of 12. We normally have that. What is going on? I will call on the Minister of Sports or the Finance Minister maybe to subsidize some of these tickets for maybe the pensioners or children who want to go. Because they have removed the subsidy on so many things, cooking gas, gasoline, rice, sugar, and flour. So I call on them to maybe subsidize some of these prices so the ordinary citizens, ordinary patrons can go and see cricket, because for a long time we didn't have, cricket in St. Lucia, Cricket World Cup. Maybe the last time we had it was 2007, So I'm disappointed with these prices. I know anybody from the Ministry of Sports and saying if they have a say in these prices, determine, for St. Lucia, maybe the rest of the Caribbean island. Prices are hot. I'm telling you, we complain. I'm getting, because I'm a cricket fan, Tim, you know me, right? I follow it, to the teeth, and to see these prices, I'm so disappointed. So call again on Minister of Sports to do something for the ordinary citizen. These prices are thought $370 for a premium. How can we afford that? Even the cheapest price, Tim, is 6cc. We normally pay the best stand Johnson Charles before, maybe 45 EC we pay, or 50 EC for CPL for good matches. Tim, I'm disappointed.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Thanks so much for expressing your opinion with us. And Kimani, during that contribution, Kimani said, So explain, Kimani, why you said,
I mean, he's asking for the government to subsidize prices for the tickets
for the matches.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it should be done. I didn't hear anyone complaining about jazz tickets. I think the prices are the prices. They're the prices for a reason, and you gave an explanation as to why.
For example, we just took an $80 million loan, which would be managed by the National Lotteries Authority, and that is to maintain many of our sporting facilities. Boseju, the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground is one, the Binder Phillip Park, among others. So, I don't know. It does cost a lot. There are some things that we just cannot afford.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't afford, you don't go.
4522979, your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. That's 716-2026. WhatsApp message, somebody says, there had so much free tickets for jazz, and now they don't have for cricket. We have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says, Tim, remember that people will be coming from other Caribbean islands and countries who can afford it. The caller should be worried about his safety given the alleged ISIS threat. And we go through some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says, don't worry, there will be lots of free tickets given to constituents, just like jazz.
But the sports minister did state that there will not be that many complimentary tickets during a pre-cabinet
press
conference. Yeah.
Because the whole thing is organized by the International Cricket Council. They're the one overseeing it.
Right.
So I don't even think that St. Lucia is in a position to dictate to the ICC the cost of the tickets. All right, more WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there. Okay. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Remember your calls, 4522979. WhatsApp messages, WhatsApp calls, 716-2026. Good day, Tim. What do you think of Countryman's allegations? Well, I've already spoken on those. The allegations are very serious. My concern is, and my consternation also is that why we're not hearing from the authorities. If somebody is going to make an allegation, serious allegation, and consistently against anybody, including myself, I have a right to come forward and to defend myself, even if I do not know the source of the allegation or the person who is actually making the allegation, because that certainly has implications for somebody's reputation. All right, let's see if we have some more WhatsApp messages to go through while we are waiting your calls. Let's see there. Okay, Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Someone is joking, saying, caller, y'all can take a loan to go see cricket. Funnily enough, I haven't seen any ads for loans to see cricket, but of course, loans to go see cricket, but I have seen loans for carnival, and also I saw for a few for jazz as well. So that's interesting. Another comment, Tim, if these allegations were made against Alan Chastney, things would be different. People would be calling for him to step down as leader of the opposition. Tim, we know it has always been prominent individuals facilitating crime. These very same prominent individuals, doctors, lawyers, judges, high-ranking police officers, if they were in a first world country, they would all be behind the bars. But with the advent of technology, these people are now being smoked out.
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poleon.
Yes, good afternoon to you, sir. Yes, caller.
What I like about Mr. What I like about Mr. Countryman is it.
Okay, caller, there's a device that you're listening and it is distracting you. So whatever you're using to listen to the broadcast, turn it off and then we can converse, sir.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Turn it off and then we can converse. They're saying Countryman, only thing I like about Countryman is when he talk about the DPP.
Okay, but let's not call names, caller. Let's not identify anyone.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
That's very serious allegations. What are you saying about him, mister? Yeah. That's
all right,
what I really have to say.
Okay, but those remain allegations. We have to be extremely careful because those people are the subject of his productions. They cannot identify him, but they can identify me, they can identify the broadcast, and we do not want to be the subject of any lawsuit. 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages. Kimani, any more comments in the chat room?
Someone says, you can afford it or not, referring to the tickets. I prefer subsidized food or gas. Tim, someone says, at this rate, I wonder what we will get on tomorrow's show. So far this week, we have had religious education, poetry corner, and now Countryman karaoke. This is us.
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. Hello? Hello? Okay, we lost that call. Let's see if we could get another call online. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. Go ahead with your contribution, caller.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes,
How
sir.
are you doing?
I'm okay. How about you?
Good.
A while we haven't heard from you, sir.
I know, Tim, I've been busy, man.
Okay, nice to know.
Let me tell you, I've been following Countryman a long time. And when I first started following him, I wasn't taking him much serious. I was like, it's just another blogger online. But a lot of these allegations, Tim, maybe I think our authorities need to look into it because there is a documentary by Dale Elliott with some individuals spearheading. I think it was a truce that they wanted to have in Viewfort with those gang leaders or something to that extent. I don't know if you ever, if you came across that documentary by Dale Elliott.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yes. So, I mean, like you said, you cannot just come out and say, okay, these people are guilty. But I think our authorities need to really look into that. And also, if they cannot get the evidence they need from these individuals, I think they should try to at least contact Countryman. Because the man, if it's a man or a woman, I don't know, because clearly the voice is distorted. They need to at least call the number and try and find out a little bit from him. Or at least try and see who it is to bring forth in the investigation team. Because I think this is very alarming. Some of these things this man is saying, it's alarming. And we need to take it serious, Tim.
I think in most countries, caller, by now we would be hearing from those people who are the subject of those allegations. They would come forward, they would call a press conference, an emergency press conference, and clear their name. I think that is very important.
Yeah, that is true. But also, what is important too, Tim? Because I can tell you that for a fact. Where I live in the part of the world here in Canada, if those allegations were to be made, especially with prominent people, you would have the police department and the chief of police. They would have a press conference, and those persons that are prominent people, whatever company they work for or institution that they head of, they would have to step down immediately. And then they would have an investigation, and as to how it go, they would be reinstated, or they would be punished based on the evidence. So I think that we're slipping, and I think in the country we tend to be too laid back and too slow to react on stuff. I don't, Tim, if you need to go back and watch some of this guy video. He has videos, and I'm talking about 3-4 years ago. You can go back and look at some of these videos, and there's a pattern, and it's not just in St. Lucia, guys. I don't want you all to think it's just in St. Lucia. Yes, we have to concentrate on St. Lucia, but this man is making some videos around the Caribbean, and I don't know, Tim. We have to do something, and we have to do it quick.
All right, sir.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much. You too. Kimani, I think it's a case where maybe some people are hoping that this will just go away. But I think it will only, the problem will only exacerbate. We have more allegations and continuously, that could erode, our various institutions and systems, and also put a cloud over the heads of certain people in our country.
It will. Someone in the chat said, when allegations are made, silence is usually a sign of guilt. It may not be, but not speaking out on it does make you question, is what he's saying true? In the chat, someone says, don't be surprised now that Countryman is being discussed on the most monitored talk show in the world, that at his next press conference, the PM says that Countryman is being paid by the opposition to make these videos.
Because I've always been skeptical about making reference to any of the allegations that have been made by Countryman. I think most people would know that by now. It's only the fact that he made reference to the program and also highlighted the comment that was made by Rick. And it was a legitimate comment when he said, and Rick was even quoting somebody who wrote something on Facebook, saying, how can you give legitimacy to something that's been made by somebody, allegations made by an individual that you cannot identify, Right. So that's all the reason why you should be suspicious.
Of course.
You understand? Because you have whistleblowers. If somebody were to call you and tell you anonymously, Kimani, that there was a major accident in the north of the island and 3 people died, you would want to investigate and to find out, right, and then to share that with the audience. So that is what is happening right now with the allegations that are being made by those individual serious allegations against key people in our society. We just want to clarify, address the issue, right, but don't ignore it.
Of course. Someone says they don't need to know his identity. They have to treat it like anonymous tips and investigate. He's chosen to speak on those things anonymously, quite likely for his protection. Another comment in the chat. Someone says, let's see. Someone says Tim Countryman is listening. Another comment, St. Lucia is not in a good place under this Labour government. Tim, where's your independent candidate for Vieux-Fort South Harbour? Last time I saw him, he was blowing his brains away, so I hope he's fine. Somebody told me that he's getting a contract to transport school children. I don't know. Really? Yeah, that's what I read in the chat room. Not in the chat room, sorry, via WhatsApp. Somebody sent me some information. So, not Countryman saying that, it's Timothy Poleon Appa. If you're listening, call and clarify this, whether you've gotten a contract to transport students. That's it for me in the chat. All right. Still to come on the broadcast. A local poet says, it is us, and how much money will JPH earn from its leasing of the island's ports for 30 years in the first instance? This is the most monitored talk show in the world, even being monitored by Countryman. It's called NewsSpin.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, 285-3329, or 285-8640, or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of a secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control. All so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more, so the tingo is more wet flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more wet flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video, cast app, unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 $ to activate.
Now that's the new vibe in the lingo. Yes. More upon more, say the tingo. It's more wet flow, now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Hey guys, guess what? Because your dad deserves more, Europa is giving more. They're bringing back the wow on Friday, June 14th with the very popular Culture Day for Father's Day. Last year was a blast and this year will be explosive. So fathers, stepfathers, grandfathers, all the dads of St. Lucia and all the moms who stand for dad, we are knocking out 15% discount on all pressure washers, vacuum cleaners, upholstery cleaners, in fact, on all carton machines. And that's not all. With turbo impact drills, rotary hammer drills, angle grinders, power saws, jigsaws, and sanders too. This year we are throwing the kitchen sink out for dads.
Messi, ça non vle encore. Pour like diwi.
Europa June 14th. I not.
Get your accommodation ready for the event season. Jazz, T20 cricket, and of course St. Lucia Carnival with hot showers powered by a tropical solar water heater. We offer a variety of sizes for any house, apartment, or hotel, and efficient installation within 24 to 48 hours of purchase. Call us today to find out what specials we have in store for you. With 3 convenient locations in Beaufort, 454-6344, Castries, 453-1868, or Grosley, 450-8201. Tropical Solar, good for the environment, good for you.
Thanks so much for staying with the most monitored talk show in the world, and that is NewsSpin. Your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. That's 716-2026. Somebody says that, Tim, I saw Appa Jazz over the weekend, and I did mention to him that News Spinners are asking about him. Okay, thank you so much for relaying that information. Another person says via WhatsApp, Appa has been silenced by being given a contract. And some more of your WhatsApp messages. Tim, good day to you. Can Countryman give us an update on the lost firearm by a senior officer at the Bordelais Correctional Facility? We have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Mr. Tim, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. Good afternoon to you, sir.
And good afternoon to the
Kimani.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah. Good. Mr. Tim, allow me a few moments, maybe not less than 3 minutes, about to contribute towards the discussion that was raised yesterday. And I noticed that 95% of your calls yesterday were about Wasco. And Wasco got the brunt of the beating over and over. But I bet you, Tim, come June, July, August, when the rainy season starts, and people now get water into their pipes and their tanks or cisterns are full, no one will be calling to complain about Wasco. Tim, I have just driven from north to south on this island of St. Lucia. And I have stopped deliberately by several bridges, and I've parked my vehicle and have gone down to look over these bridges. And guess what I saw, Tim? That the waters from the rivers coming from the mountains of St. Lucia are still flowing down into the sea. And I wondered if the rivers still have water in this season when Wasco is complaining and telling us do not use the water and it's a dry season. How is it that they are not able to tap into this precious resource? How is it that over the years, perennially, that Wasco has always been during this time of the year, continuously telling St. Lucians or advising St. Lucians on the usage of what they pay for? Why has Wasco failed miserably, and succeeding administration or previous administration after administration have caused the St. Lucian public to have the same kind of issue every time of the year during that time? Why have the governments not seen it necessary to tap the reservoirs and to create a kind of containment for this water, so that at this time of the year, even if the Wasco is supposed to or is willing to shut the water at the source, and when I say at the source, at the river, that we would have had enough containment in dams and reservoirs to feed this island from north to south for at least 6 months. Tim, the rivers continue to flow into the sea, yet still you have the Sea of Wasco telling us to conserve water, and they are taking drastic measures if we are not able to do so. Tim, the rivers continue to flow down into the ocean every single day, yet Wasco is telling St. Lucians, do not. Wasco, you have failed to do what is necessary. You need to take stock of how you manage our precious water resources, and you need to be accountable. There's no one that is held accountable at WASCO, and that is why we have this issue that we're having at the moment. Team, finally, I have deliberately looked out, and I'm seeing, even in the midst of this dry season, very, very lush and green points and section of this island. And to my recollection, these lands belong to government. It means to me, or it suggests to me, Tim, that there are gallons and gallons of water in that soil down there. WASCO has not been able to figure out a way to tap into the water reserves that is a few feet deep under the ground. WASCO, you have failed us over the years, and the incoming government, I hope the United Workers' Party, not I hope, but I know when they come back in office, they will do something finally about that this time next year, WASCO is not going to tell us the same thing that they've been telling us over 50 years ago. Thank you and good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much for calling. Get the impression this caller has a crystal ball, but we don't know what the outcome of the island's next general election will be. We have another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, team.
Hi, is that Mr. Guy Joseph?
Good afternoon, team.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon to you, caller. Before I know you called maybe to address a particular issue, but let me ask you a question even before you speak. WASCO, a United Workers' Party administration, what does that administration plan to do? If it gets into office the next time around, what does it plan to do with regard to WASCO? If it has any plans.
What we had attempted to do after Hurricane Thomas, team, we had attempted to revive the Vanna water intake and the Wavin Poisson intake. From these two sources, you could have captured close to 1 million gallons or 2 million gallons of water on a daily basis. I think at that it may be lower now, but at the time, Wavin Poisson, based on the flow and the readings, we were getting safely 900,000 gallons a day. And I don't recall the readings for Vanna. So let me just refresh your memory. Just before you climbed the Bad Little by the Wavin Poisson Bridge, you remember there was a water, Wasco had a little house on the left-hand side there if you head inside.
Yeah.
And there was a pump house and a pump station.
Mm-hmm.
Just across the road into the river that flows down into cul-de-sac was a reservoir that was abandoned after Roseau Dam was established. The walls of the reservoir they are still intact, but the silt has filled it up to the top so the water is flowing over. At Vanna, when you get to the bottom of the hill in Sarot, where the new bus shelter was just erected, team, on the left-hand side going towards Vanna, there was another water intake, and you had these big ponds of water right there. All of these intakes were abandoned. There's a gravity flow one in Mille that was abandoned also. So what happened to Wasco over the years? And if you go to Hill 20, Hill 20 used to have its own water supply. Now I think there's a main line running from the Feebles treatment plant all the way to Babono. Now, Babono used to be fed primarily from Hill 20. There were about, as a boy, walking the forest between La Saucière and Pitoflo, you had about 6 water reservoirs within that area. I can safely tell you maybe 2 of them is working presently, team, But what happened is that we put all our eggs into one basket. What UWP was working on also, and their documents to show what we were doing, we were negotiating. You see the raw sewage that is being disposed right into the Castries Harbor, Tim?
Yeah.
We were in the process of identifying a location, and we had identified the pond in the gardens as a possible place where you could build something that is internal, so you would not be seeing it aesthetically. It would look good. You could put a building over it or anything you wanted. But to treat all the raw wastewater in Castries and put that water back into circulation. We had also discussed, we know that for a fact that Wasco is losing a good 40% of the water that it is producing. Now, is either people have illegal connections or the water is being lost even after it is treated at the treatment plant. If you could just get a level of efficiency in these areas alone, Tim, we could reduce the water-related emergencies we have considerably. The rest of the desilting of the dam. You remember how much criticism there was of the previous UWP government about the situation with Wasco and buying the dryer to be able to remove the silt? Tim, Roseau Dam was built with about 20 feet below the last extraction point. This is what we call dead water. This water could not be extracted except if you had to drop a hose down there. It could not be extracted through the normal outlet. There were two outlets, one higher and one in somewhere in the middle. For after Hurricane Thomas, for the desilting of the dam, you could not extract water. Tim, thank God, under the previous UWP administration, under chairmanship of Mr. Dembo at Wasco, we were able to get to the second extraction point. Or by February, you would have been out of water in this country already. So, but the dam still has millions of cubic meters of silt that is still to be removed and can only be removed really during the rainy season, because if you do it during the dry season, the water would be too contaminated to be used. So these are simple measures. We were also negotiating with a company who had looked at the possibility of drilling a number of wells in strategic locations in the north, and they would connect to the existing pipeline of Wasco to give the supply, and would be giving the 1,000 gallons at a fraction of what the existing cost is today. So Wasco would still continue to make its profit, but not have the headache of producing the water. So, Tim, there was a comprehensive plan being worked on by a UWP government, because we always knew, we saw the vulnerability of St. Lucia after Hurricane Thomas.
But Mr. Joseph,
dam had collapsed.
This is not the first time we are going through this problem with water shortages and having to implement water emergency measures in St. Lucia. So it has happened during the reign of both administrations. So what you're telling me is what you intended to do, but there's been previous UWP administrations which have failed to address that critical issue.
I am telling you, Tim, what we were doing, but these things take time to happen, and every time a government changes, these projects are stopped. So we had started cleaning the dam. We rebuilt the Vanna intake. The water was to be pumped to the top of Sarot as complementary to the Roseau Dam. Remember, we lost the elections in 2011. That was a year and a half after Thomas, or about a year after Thomas. The new government came in and nothing happened. UWP came back in 2016 and the focus was on desilting the dam, Because while you would be attempting, they could not have tackled both projects at the same time because of the limited resources available. Remember, we were also doing the water project in Viewfort and the completion of the Dennery water supply project. So the Wasco's hands was filled on the UWP, doing the Viewfort project, desilting the Roseau Dam, having to change so many pipes that was problematic along the way. The raw water line from Roseau Dam to the Feebles treatment plant at Cicero had been heavily compromised. But we did not experience all of these shortages that we are having now. Tim, the government has taken a decision to stop new connections, you know. So if somebody built a house, Tim, and is ready to move into their home, they've taken a loan, they've given up the rental where they were, or they're starting a business. You are telling me that to solve the problem, the decision is no new water connections? So why, if there's 10 gallons of water, the 10 gallons of water cannot be shared by everybody? So you try, that is not a solution, Tim. And it is rather hard-pressed because I can tell you, if Alan Chasney had made that decision, they would have said the white man don't even want black people to get water to live. But it's okay when because the WASCO couldn't make that decision by itself, Tim. It had to be endorsed and approved by the government, the cabinet of ministers, in order for WASCO to declare a water-related emergency. And I agree there should be a water-related emergency in relation to how people choose to use the limited water supply that's available. But how does not giving an elderly person who has to move into a home, or a young person moving, first-time homeowner, you denying them the right?
But that's
so
what
if the water situation does not improve all the way into August, then there's going to be no water until that time, and you can't move into your house.
Yeah, that's for folks in the north. Okay, let's move on to the other issue that you called to focus on, sir.
Yes. Tim, we had the Prime Minister talking about the bikes and the water skis. I would assume that the Prime Minister meant jet skis. Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe he couldn't tell the difference between, or the word slipped him for jet ski or water ski, but he's made so many of these blunders. Tim, are you aware that this is a requirement for World Cup?
Oh, that's what the ICC requested.
Tim, all the extra police officers they are bringing in, with the police already under-equipped, are you not aware that... Now, why couldn't the Prime Minister come out straight and tell the people of St. Lucia, look here, we will benefit from World Cup on the basis that the police is going to get all of these extra things available to them after the completion of World Cup. Because how many games do you have there? 6 or 8 games?
Yeah, about 6 matches.
Over a short period. Exactly. Why would the Prime Minister come and say, oh, I'm making all this equipment available to the police? Had there not been the hosting of World Cup, would jet skis have been made available? And Tim, we know there's a threat by ISIS that there may be some terrorist attack in relation to the upcoming World Cup in the US and in St. Lucia. Now, I don't think St. Lucia may be a target. I think they may be more focused on the US because the US not being a cricketing nation and getting to host World Cup, and maybe Pakistan not getting, or other countries they felt. So that could be a means of retaliation. But what I'm saying is that why can't the Prime Minister at least level with the people of the country on basic things like that and come forward and say to the people of St. Lucia, hey, this is a requirement. But Tim, you know the scariest part for me is not about hosting World Cup, is not what ICC says, is not just what the Prime Minister says. My information is that the legislation passed in Parliament gives immunity to the foreign police coming here, that if they shoot somebody, if anything they do, they are immune from prosecution. Is that the case, Tim?
I heard the discussion in the islands parliament. I think that is true.
Tim, isn't that a scary situation for us in St. Lucia? Knowing the linkages that go from country to country, that a set of police officers would be given the powers that our local police have, that they would be given something beyond what our regular police officers have, in that if they decide that you should not be driving there and they decide to shoot you because you talk too much on NewsSpin, and somebody influences them that they are immune from being prosecuted, and we see no problems with that, Tim. This is a scary situation. This is a situation that should scare the hell out of every St. Lucian. Given the level of criminal activity in St. Lucia, given the interconnection between the islands and the crime gangs and who is affiliated to who and what is likely to happen, what is it that was that a requirement to host World Cup? Or is that something that the government decided to do in order to attract the police officers to come here? Was it a situation where, because of the crime situation, other regional police didn't really want to come here? Because we did not get good reports about what was happening when we had the RSS down here for the crime situation in Viewfort. So why couldn't they come under the same rules that the RSS operates? Why are they being given immunity for whatever they decide to do? Team, it is time for us to wake up in St. Lucia and realize that we are in serious trouble and that this government is clueless and is just reacting to situations. I believe that what they have done with the water situation is totally unacceptable. That you are going to deny people in the north the right to a water connection. That they are going to give the foreign police coming here immunity. And think that they are going to allow the Prime Minister to come and mislead us again into believing that he is just making equipment available to the police when I know that it is being given, because this is part of the requirement of additional movement for the police for the hosting of World Cup. Thank you, Clay.
Thank you so much for calling the broadcast. Just so there from the first deputy political leader of the opposition, UWP, Mr. Guy Joseph. Still to come on the program, how much money will GPH earn from its leasing of the island's ports for 30 years in the first instance? This is the most monitored talk show in the world. NewsSpin.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Lucilec's remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, 285-3329, or 285-8640. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo. Is more wet flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more wet flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video, cast app, unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 to activate.
Now that's the new vibe in the lingo. Yes. More upon more, see how the tingo. It's more wet flow, now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
The new home of the best country music is Power 97.9 FM.
Say the stars are bound to fade.
Switch us on Join Me, DJ Jerry, this and every Thursday from 8 p.m. till midnight for Country Gold, the best in country music.
Your bags are packed and waiting.
The new, the oldies, and the goldies. So let's make it a date. This and every Thursday with me, DJ Jerry, from 8 p.m. till midnight for Country Gold. If it's Thursday, it's Country Gold Thursday. Country Gold, only on Power 97.9 FM.
I lead a rich, rewarding life. But why?
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of our secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control. All so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Hey guys, guess what? Because your dad deserves more, Europa is giving more. They're bringing back the wow on Friday, June 14th with the very popular Culture Day for Father's Day. Last year was a blast and this year will be explosive. So fathers, stepfathers, grandfathers, all the dads of St. Lucia and all the moms who stand for dad, we are knocking out 15% discount on all pressure washers, vacuum cleaners, upholstery cleaners, in fact, on all carton machines. And that's not all. Metabo impact drills, rotary hammer drills, angle grinders, power saws, jigsaws, and sanders too. This year we are throwing the kitchen sink out for dads. Europa June 14th. I not.
Get your accommodation ready for the event season. Jazz, T20 cricket, and of course, St. Lucia Carnival with hot showers powered by a tropical solar water heater. We offer a variety of sizes for any house, apartment, or hotel, and efficient installation within 24 to 48 hours of purchase. Call us today to find out what specials we have in store for you. With 3 convenient locations in Beaufort, 454-6344, Castries, 453-1868, or Grosley, 450-8201. Tropical Solar, good for the environment, good for you.
As it relates to the visiting police force, the bill makes provision for the Commissioner of Police to provide operational direction to the visiting police force. The bill also specifies the status of members of visiting police forces, which is akin to a police officer in St. Lucia. Therefore, a member of a visiting police force is immune from prosecution for actions taken in the course of official duties. The Commissioner can issue a certificate stating that the action was done in the performance of official duty and can authorize the carrying of or possession of explosives, ammunition, and firearms to a member of a visiting police force for the discharge of their functions under the bill.
I do not support Section 10 either. If the police officers that are coming to work alongside our hardworking men, if they don't have the same rules as our hardworking men and women in the police force, who have taken us through COVID, who have taken us through hurricanes, who have taken us through natural disasters, who are on the front line, Madam President, facing a very dangerous crime crisis in the country, Madam President. And you want to tell me that the guys who are coming from overseas are going to have different rules from them, but are going to be treated as if they are full members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and all of the rights that our local police officers have do apply to them, but yet they are immune and the rules are different, and they can get away with any violations in the line of duty? That can't be fair to our local police officers. That cannot be fair at all.
Just heard there from Opposition Senator Dominic Fady, and before him you heard from, I don't know if she's still Home Affairs Minister, in what capacity you're speaking during the debate in the House, but Government Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon. So this is something that we're just bringing to the attention of our audience right now, in case you're not privy to it. And I think that's something worth exploring during the course of our program today, as well as tomorrow and even next week. So when we're talking about sovereignty, when we're talking about the independence, a country that can stand on its own and make its own decisions, we have to take that with a grain of salt. Because in this particular case, obviously I don't have the facts before me right now, one gets the impression that maybe the authorities in St. Lucia would have been forced to adopt that particular posture that reference is being made to by the first deputy political leader of the UDLP, as well as what you heard from the St. Lucia government minister, Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon, as well as the opposition senator. Maybe it would have been mandated by the International Cricket Council. But I'm ahead of myself on this issue, and something worth exploring and asking more questions of the authority or the authorities as to whether we'll be getting an explanation. Your guess certainly is as good as mine. There's another issue that we're looking at, and of course, GPH, that deal. Again, there are a lot of things that we don't know about, and it is still the subject of public discussion. Nancy Charles, on her program Meet the Opposition, that's on the Rev Up St. Lucia, earlier today, did focus on that GPH deal, and she did claim that that would certainly give GPH the opportunity to milk St. Lucia to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Every project that the previous administration tried to do, the Labour Party objected. They had a problem. Every project Alan Chastney spoke about, they had a problem. But today, our ports have been given away to a foreigner. And, this gentleman was there jeering at us. And I say jeering at us because he took us for fools. Because in his statement, he said to us, he's just a tenant of the port. The port was never sold. He never bought the port. He's just a tenant. You're a tenant and you're not paying rent to us?
You said this gentleman. Who are you referring to?
He's the chairman of GPH at the ceremony. That's what he said. And then the Prime Minister, in his own words, he said, well, I make sure I read every line of the agreement because I would not sign the agreement if I did not read every line. Powell JT. Prime Minister, you read every line? So you read every line and you understood that you were given GPH 10 million US dollars every year in visitor fees. And that money is not inclusive of, remember, GPH is in addition to the $10 million. And why do we say $10 million? Every visitor who comes via the port, Andre, they pay an entry fee. And they are projecting that it will be 1 million visitors in the next year. And so at $10 by 1 million visitors is what? $10 million. And that's US, 10 US. So that's 10 million US dollars. In addition to that, they will also be collecting the fees from the taxi drivers who has the taxi stand, the vendors who are at La Place Carénage and also in that vendors arcade, etc. So all these fees, a tenant, he say he's a tenant. I suppose I didn't go to school to understand what a tenant is. He's a tenant, but he's the one collecting the money. So they've given, this is the deal, Andre. They've given GPH, Prime Minister, you said you read the agreement. You've given GPH to collect at minimum the $10 million a year for 30 years. St. Lucia calculated that is $300 million over the next 30 years. $300 million. $300 million. And why are we giving them that $300 million? And remember, there's an option to extend to another 10 years. So it can be 40 years as well. You buy even 40 years, St. Lucia? United Workers' Party will come to the rescue and we will change that. I can guarantee you that. But they've given them 30 years guaranteed and an option to extend for another 10 years. So they will be collecting $300 million for what? For an investment of $40 million. That making sense to anybody in St. Louis?
Nancy Charles of the Opposition United Workers Party. Your calls 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. A WhatsApp message, it reads, I have not heard from Wasco about stopping the supply of water to Blue Waters and Crystal Clear. You know how many millions of gallons that is sent to those companies on a monthly basis? The water from our reservoirs is supplied to those firms. Our people note that it is not spring or distilled water. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon to you, sir. You are on the air.
Fine. Good afternoon, Tim. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
Tim, have you ever heard of... Hi, Tim. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Hi. Have you ever heard of a lady called Wangari Maathai?
No, I haven't.
She was an African activist.
Mm-hmm.
And in actual fact, she was the first black woman to be ever given the Nobel Prize. I think she died a few years ago. Wangari Maathai.
Mm-hmm.
And she was given the one of the things that she was famous for was a contribution to sustainable development, democracy, and peace. And one of her achievements was founding a green movement in 1977 to plant trees across Kenya to alleviate poverty and conflict. The planting of the trees was directly related to the water problems that exist in Kenya. And even at that time, it was said that future wars would be fought on the basis of water. So the problems of water have been around for a very, very long time. And Wasco's problems has sort of like gone across the governments of the day over all these years. We're talking now, what, 27, 23, now we're talking 50 something years. We've been fighting with Wasco for water. Now, one would have thought that, first thing, I want to move back a bit. When I was at the Bank of St. Lucia, when I went in there, we needed to get a managing director because the managing director was there when I assumed the chairmanship of the board. He resigned within a few months, and up to now, I don't think anybody knows why he resigned. So we went hunting, and we didn't hunt only in St. Lucia, but we also hunted across the region. And eventually, we recruited a highly qualified Grenadian national, someone in the OACS, who, as far as I'm aware, is doing a fantastic job in the bank. It's come a long way from the state it was in a couple of years ago. And there was a lot of resistance to bringing him in. But the point is, at that time, the board of the bank was committed to getting the best qualified person across the region to save what we all assumed or took to be an icon bank in St. Lucia, the Bank of St. Lucia. And he's doing a fantastic job. We have had water problems for eons. Recently, with the change of government, we had a
change in the structure at Wasco, and the position of managing director became vacant. One would have thought, in the light of the importance of Wasco to St. Lucia, water is life, that the person being put into that organization at this time would have been one of the best qualified people from anywhere, not only from the region, from anywhere to get that company going. Look at right now, we're in the midst of what is a water crisis.
Water emergency.
And the implications, right? And the implications of this, we don't know where it's going. We're only in, what month we in? As somebody says, what month we in again? We're in May, right? And the worst of the season is yet to come. We're already in a crisis. So it indicates to you that the person you would have wanted at the head of Wasco had to be a highly qualified individual, preferably experienced in water management, but certainly somebody who can drive the organization in the right direction, guide the government's policy, etc., and so on. I don't recall ever seeing that position advertised. Never. So there was no chance of us even getting to the best person is. You know who the managing director of Wasco is right now?
Zilta George Leslie.
What is her background in management at that level?
I don't know, but I know that prior to being given that position, she worked at the utility company for a while.
In what capacity?
I don't know what capacity. I can't recall, but she worked there for a while.
These are the things that are causing our country to be the way it is at the moment. We have a government which was in opposition. It railed against all things that are bad. And primary among them was nepotism. Nepotism. And now we have somebody in there, I think the only connection she have with the qualification, if you will, to occupy that job is she happens to be the daughter of a highly placed Labour Party luminary. And you say, now, when these things come up, they say, oh, when the other government was there, they used to do it. What people are failing to recognize, the reasons government change is for things to change. You can't go in and replace one government with another one, and then the new one is using what the old one was kicked out for as an excuse for doing things. This lady was the customer service manager, I understand. So she's moved from customer service manager, she's been elevated to the boardroom. It is insanity in a country which is at the verge of what could possibly be a catastrophe. Coming on the back of this water emergency, we have the hurricane season coming through on June 1. When we look at the temperatures and the warmth of the Atlantic Ocean right now, we are not sure that we are not going to have a disastrous hurricane season. That has been forecasted for the last 3-4 years. Our luck is going to run out. And we could have two disasters back to back, and we have an inexperienced person sitting on the top of one of the most important utilities in this country. This from a government who promised that all of this would change. And that's not the only place the nepotism is. If one looks around, you could find it in almost every single major corporation in the island. Thank you, Tim. I want to talk about what's it, the global port holdings also, but I'll leave that for another time, because this thing, I cannot understand how St. Lucians haven't hit the streets yet. In other parts of the world, people would have been marching forward. This hurts me to think that I'm sitting in a country where people are so stupid, and I use the word deliberately, to accept that some people come from overseas with absolutely nothing in their hands. Nothing, but yet still they can get access to the most profitable statutory body in St. Lucia on the mere promise of what they could do. Let's assume we have a bad season coming up with the hurricane season again, and it literally puts the island back like 1980 when Ireland struck. And the tourism business takes a dive. So the million people we're talking about don't come. What will these guys do?
They've taken a loan from a bank locally. I don't know where the security comes from, but it has to be local because you have a new company with no track record in the island taking money from a bank. It has to. What do? They can easily pull up their whatever little they have and walk away. And what are we left with? This is insanity. People have got to stop and have a serious look at that transaction. On the back of it, we have this halls of justice. It's in $160 million. It is generally recognized globally. Large construction projects, they attract corruption, just like bees and honey go together. $160 million. 20% going by the way of cost overruns or whatever. We're talking about $32 million. And that is well within the scope of corruption on a project of that size. And we are not questioning this thing. Why are we funding this thing out of Trinidad? We have the capacity here, despite what he said. What's his name? The chairman of NH. We have the capacity here to fund this thing. Why is he saying that there's none in St. Lucia? Send St. Lucia out to the region as if we are a basket case. This is insanity. And all this money is just going to be pumping straight out of the island. And we are sitting back and we are accepting this. The words escape me at the moment. I'm really saddened to think that we, who over the years have produced all sorts of brain, and people speak about how our students are doing well, etc. and so on. We allow these things to happen without expressing our outrage at this bleeding of the country just for a particular purpose. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But I'll take up some more on that later. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And the chairman of the NH that you're making reference to is Mr. Emil Elias. The chat room, what's happening there, Kimani?
In the chat room, someone says, if Wasco doesn't give me a connection, I will get water from my neighbor. Will this not be the same amount of water being used if I had my own connection? What is more concerning is there are criminals roaming the streets using firearms against innocent people and returning home with no repercussions, sounding off gunshots in the air for kicks or to exert dominance in the community, knowing that nothing happens when they engage in this activity. Why is there more a concern for powers given to police officers given what is happening now? Someone says, this no new connections is not a smart or progressive move. Wasco should investigate each new connection individually and decide. Another comment, most of these canals, not rivers, are polluted with pesticides from agrochemics. Let's see. Given this information, a reputable law enforcement agency would be analyzing these revelations and creating profiles to connect criminal dots. Solving crime is like assembling a puzzle, and I don't believe we currently have the capacity in this country to achieve that level of sophistication. I've been following this closely, and I see it as an individual exposing systemic corruption, fulfilling his duty to share this information. The source might be within our justice system, yet is often ignored, a common issue in underdeveloped countries like ours. However, it would benefit us to listen and begin connecting the dots to see if it makes sense.
Our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day: in Peru, trans, non-binary, and intersex people are classified as mentally ill following a decree from the government's health ministry. In Peru, trans, non-binary, and intersex people are classified as mentally ill following a decree from the government's health ministry. Our NewsSpin news of the day. And we have this poem, and the poem is titled, It Is Us, It Is Us, It Is Us, and first read on the broadcast yesterday, in case you missed it.
It is our brothers, our cousins, and our sons who are out there robbing not only the tourists, but also us in the streets, sometimes even killing us. It is us. It is our custom officers who accept bribes to look the other way while our streets continue to be flooded with illegal guns. Yes, it is us. It is our sisters, our daughters, our mothers who engage in immoral and despicable acts on social media, setting a terrible example for the upcoming generation. It is us. It is us. Instead of seeing young girls as people to improve their lives, we see them as objects to sleep with. It is us. It is our pharmacists who sell the morning after pill to kids in school uniform. Yes, it is us. It is us who work at state institutions, and instead of helping to improve and strengthen the system, we engage in all forms of corruption and accept bribes to circumvent the very structures that we were hired to safeguard. It is us. It is us. It is our brothers, sisters, uncles, and aunties who intend us from this government and provide substandard work, destroying the infrastructure that we were tasked to build. It is us. It is us in our communities who purchase food from the thieves, knowing full well that they do not own plantations, thereby depriving a struggling farmer of an income. Yes, it is us. It's us. We are the problem. Look at all of the murders, the robberies, the corruption, the kickbacks, the bubble, the larceny. It is not only politicians or other elected officials. They are unable to do it without the help of us. It is us. It is us who elect men of dubious virtue and allow them to preside over us in Fair Helen. The vices that they exhibit are all reflections of us. They are not special. They come. They are in essence us. They are us. We are the ones allowing them to bend us over while we look the other way. It is no one else but us. Yes, it is us. Look at how public funds are wasted and sometimes blatantly disappear without any accountability. Who else can we blame but us? Yes, it is us. We need to quit the blame game and face the blight that we have placed on ourselves. It is us. Yes, we are the problem. It is us. We find justification in spending millions on a pagan festival, yet claim that we are a Christian nation, all the while lacking a proper hospital in the south. It is us. Whatever is happening, it is us allowing it to happen. Yes, it is us. We need to clap our hands for those destroying this country. It is no one else but us. Yes, it is us.
The individual did not identify himself, but the poem called It Is Us. He called into the program yesterday to recite that poem. And we have our feature, The Names of Things You Probably Did Not Know. The names of things you probably did not know. All right, so the plastic or metallic coating at the end of your shoelaces is called an aglet. The plastic or metallic coating at the end of your shoelaces is called an aglet. Kiman, I don't know if you have any more comments in the chat room before we conclude.
Someone says, please turn this poem into a calypso. Imagine you singing it, Tim.
Imagine you singing it.
Another comment.
It would sound better.
Another comment. I don't think the allegations made by Countryman are being ignored. I believe investigations are going on. We have a couple YouTube comments. Tim, one of the sleeping policemen has returned to the road near the Harbor Club. Another comment. I am starting to believe that this is the most monitored show in the world. Someone else says, and this is why we listen to NewsSpin. Information, 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 and Countryman. Someone is asking, where is the management of Wasco with such vital information from Mr. Joseph to complete his information? Let's see another comment. That pattern with Wasco is what happens with most government institutions, even those who are board controlled. And someone else says, St. Jude Hospital is rolling from government to government. And a YouTube comment, final YouTube comment, this caller is right. We can go into wells. Our water table might be very shallow. That's it for YouTube. Back to the Facebook chat, someone says, it is as I put a government in power. Another comment, we are in big trouble, my people. It is us indeed.
Somebody says that Wasco is an enigmatic company. When there is a lot of rain, no water in people's pipes. And when there is no rain, no water in people's pipes. When there is no water in people's pipes, there is sufficient water for hotels, cruise ships, and to sell to those who can afford and those who press them to supply. I understand from a reliable source that there is illegal logging going on in our forests, and that is contributing to low water table levels, and that forestry and other stakeholders like WASCO are not addressing the matter in a serious way. The Marquis River is dry for the first time in recorded history. St. Lucians, brace yourself for years of water problems. I don't know if you have any more comments, Kimani?
Someone says it's best we get on our water ski and get out of St. Lucia. Someone else says, on a serious note, people, why aren't we striking for GPH? Someone says, caller, this is what happens when we think with under our feet. Thank you, Mr. Myers. Well spoken. It is certainly outrageous. So now you guys understand why we can't go a day without NewsSpin. Someone says, if the reader of the poem would tell us which festivals he called pagan festival, I would be happy.
All right, thank you so much. That will do it. We have our question of the day. What has happened to the once vibrant local media? Question of the day. What has happened to the once vibrant local media? That is the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the most monitored talk show in the world, and that is NewsSpin. My name is Timothy Poleon. Enjoy your day, and please join us tomorrow afternoon, same time, 12:30, for another broadcast. Goodbye.